I hear little pitter patters coming down the stairs, and then we'll get started. What you doing, little person? Come and show Uncle Joe your face.
Oh my God! What are you doing?
Look at my pudding, y'all. My beautiful baby. Yeah, and she did her edges. They laying.
Oh, okay.
No, they're not done. They're cooking.
Okay.
They're cooking. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to our channel. I'm your girl, Zar Eleanor. This is my fine husband, Mr. Zar Conner. My baby is upstairs making noise. Okay, so no judgment. And we are here, and we are back, and we are talking about Married at First Sight. Let's dig on into Emily and Brennan first. Something about Brennan is brewing.
What you mean?
Oh, that is a movie title.
Right.
Something about him gives the quiet is anger.
Explain why you say that. I don't know.
So they're having fun, and she basically, first of all, they had a very good conversation at dinner. They talked about, you know, religious boundaries and things like that, and her being Catholic, and him being Jewish. And I thought that was such an easy conversation to have. Mm-hmm. It was weird to see that Becca and Austin hadn't had the conversation because it was just easy.
I don't think it was weird at all. I think very similar to what I think it was Pastor Kyle was saying, or it might have been Dr. Pia. It doesn't matter. One of the experts was saying, you're on your honeymoon. Enjoy your honeymoon. You do not have to have these big conversations today. And I thought that was spot on. So, and I think that when Austin is evading her questions, I am putting it in that a mind frame. Like, we don't have to talk about this. One, we just met, and two, we're on our honeymoon. We don't, you're not there for that long. You're there with a bunch of other people. So you really don't even have that much quality time, and you're filming, right? So it's not, you will have ample amount of time to have these monumental, big big, you know, philosophical conversations. And while you're on the beach sipping on Mai Tais, is not necessarily the time to have them. And I think you made that kind of point like last week when you were like, sometimes like I'll be wanting to have conversations when we really supposed to just be enjoying each other and relaxing. And I think that there's something to that. But I did like how Emily and Brennan just had a conversation. Like, yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, if it happens organically. Yeah, it felt organic. Right. I don't have no problem with that. Yeah, like it really did. But when I'm talking about, I feel like something is brewing with Brennan. I feel like they were outside and they were playing all these games, which she was actually very good at, even though she only had one hand. He just seemed agitated. Oh, I'm picking up what you're putting down because that's when she asked him, like, she said something to the effect of, do you like having fun? Right. And he was like, what? And I think you're right. I don't know where I'm at with them now is, I don't know, excuse me. I don't know if it has anything to do with her yet. And I don't know that it does. I don't think it does. But I just from there, the way they have been getting along and speaking to each other, interacting with each other, Married at First Sight is very good at elevating contentious moments. Yeah. You're not really going to miss any. Right, unless they happen at 4 o'clock in the morning, like Lauren and Orion's did. Oh, Chad. I don't think we missed them and having an argument. They missed that. I know. They real pissed. So I don't think that right now, my guess is that it's not anything we missed. I think it could be filming. You know, a lot of times we hear them say, we're tired, we're exhausted, we film all the time. All they do is hand us drinks, so we hungry. Yeah. So I see what you see, and I see what Emily saw, but I don't know that it had anything to do with their relationship. Because when they are interacting and talking, he does seem like he's into it. And I think he's very much into it. I do think she needs some sense of validation. Oh, I do. But I think that don't have nothing to do with him either. I don't think that has anything to do with him either. But I think
It might not have anything to do with her, but I do think she needs some form of validation.
I think about around like,
are you having a good time with me? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think that's what she was asking versus do you have fun?
Yeah.
I don't think she was asking that. You know what I mean?
Agree.
I think she was just like, are you having a good time with me? Like, I know we're doing all these fun, these crazy things, but are you enjoying it?
And I'm going to give her some more grace with that too, because she does not know him. Mm-hmm. And it's very hard when you are just meeting somebody and they don't show their cards. You're constantly, does she like this? Is this working for her? Am I doing this right?
Have you ever dated somebody like that? Who was just like, they were into it, but they just didn't show it. What is the word? Nonchalant?
Yes. Are very poker facey.
Yes. I appreciate people like that.
So it does. I don't.
I appreciate women like that more than.
Throw your cards on the table, clap your hands, stomp if you do backflips.
Well, you got to do backflips about me.
Yeah,
everybody know.
I don't need you to be stoic. But I understand when you just meet somebody, she doesn't know him. She doesn't know the situation. They don't have a flow yet. So I don't blame her for checking in and being like, are you good? Am I good? Are we good?
Yeah, I get that. Actually, really, the more I watch Emily, although I think that something is stewing there, the more she's becoming my favorite for some reason. She just seems like one of those people who you could vibe with. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she wants to vibe. She wants to have a connection with you. That's kind of why I like Emily. You know what I mean? And you could tell. Same thing with Becca. Becca in Austin. Becca's kind of feeling like she wants to have these conversations. And I also wonder why she's so pressed.
Well, she spoke to a little bit that it is it is a little bit of a flaw of hers, she said. She said she does this a lot in her relationships, especially early. She likes to rush in. And she said it's something that she's working on, which I appreciate her being self-aware at that.
For sure.
She says she does like to rush in, and she says that these big topics give her anxiety because of something that happened in her past or some past relationship. So she want to, know, how do you feel about religion? She
don't want to waste her time. That's probably because she probably on the ticker.
Yeah, well.
And I mean that respectfully. When people have are experiencing certain pains and ailments or whatever, you have a different sense of mortality and time than a lot of other people.
That too. But I think also she's a little bit jaded by her past. Because which is understandable either way.
You feel like you jaded by your past?
No, not at all.
What? Why not?
I cannot be present, and you know this about me. I can't be present if I'm thinking about my past. If it's bothering me, if it's weighing on me, I won't be here, and you'll know. I'll be somewhere else. So I've had to learn how to let go, move on, forget about, and I've exercised that muscle even more here. Because that was a big ick for Zar when we first started dating. I was very slow to move on from stuff. So that was one of the areas very early on in our marriage that I paid a lot of attention to for myself. Letting go, moving on to the next day, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I don't really, the past is the past. And especially for things not associated with my wife. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That I don't encounter every day. It's much easier for me to just be like, all right, I'm done with that.
Do you think when we started dating again that you had emotional baggage in some ways?
No, I think I had triggers.
Okay.
But it wasn't things that I was carrying with me daily. Not things that I thought about. But definitely
things that were okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Okay. I think that she is experiencing a little bit of that. Of the trigger aspect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And she's perseverating. So it's making her, she's thinking about the guy in the past who didn't want to talk about religion and then left her because he didn't like her religion. So she tell me now.
Yeah, because what did she say she was? She was agnostic?
Something, I don't remember.
It's funny because Joe and I had to we were talking about this during the episode about tackling the religious conversation and how we kind of did that real early. Well,
Yeah.
you guys know this by now. I was raised Muslim, very Muslim, and Joe was raised
Christian,
very Christian.
My dad is a pastor.
Right. And so we had very different. It's funny because I asked him last night, and I want you to explain to people today, because Becca made mention of how sometimes people of a specific faith are more judgmental towards other people. And I asked you, like, how were you able to navigate that? Because you've never been that way.
Yeah, I think I just it's funny, we was talking about my one of my favorite cousins when we was in the car the other day or something.
Trina?
Yeah. And
hey, boo.
We were talking about another, like
yes.
niece of ours. And I said specifically about her, I always knew she was going to break out. Like she was going to be one of the black sheep of the family, so to speak. I said, like me and Trina. And she said, why do you think that is? And I said, I think I always was that way within our family, even though our religious background was very, very, I don't want to say strict because I don't think that's accurate. Very diligent, very consistent.
Like almost orthodox, I feel like, or like, not orthodox. That's not the word I want to use.
I would say it was very, very committed, very diligent.
Very committed. That's good.
I wouldn't say strict, but very committed, very traditional.
Yeah.
Very grounded, but
very rooted.
Very rooted.
Yeah.
But very early on, I was outside. You know what I'm saying? Like as a kid, I was playing basketball. I was playing in bands. I was playing for different events and stuff like that, in churches and stuff like that of different denominations. Yeah. And then I was always in an environment like our school that was very diverse. Yeah. So to me, especially, and this is important, this is why it's so important to expose your kids to stuff early, because they don't, that judgmental spirit is learned. Yes. Right. So for kids who grew up in a school where one of their best friends is Asian, the other one is Chinese, the other one is Jewish, the other one is black, they go to college, they're not in a culture shock. Right. Because it's just all they know.
Was actually our lives.
That was actually our lives. So it was that same way religious wise. I had Muslim friends, I had Jewish friends, I had friends that didn't go to church at all, very early on. And so being amongst those people, I saw more similarities in the way that we went about religion and different things like that than I saw differences. I saw more commonalities. I understood that, especially getting older and learning about different religions, I understood that people that worship God, a lot of these religions is saying God in a different word. They might say Jeshua, they might say Allah, they might say God, but they all talking about a higher being, you know? Mm-hmm. So a lot of that just made it very easy to look at somebody doing something different and just be like, oh, it's just different. It's not, It's not bad because it's not the way I do it.
Right. And that's why I think when I talk about like the conversation, I don't understand why it's so hard for them to just have a conversation about religion. I think I'm coming from that perspective because Joe kind of was around me and my coven. You know, me, my mom, and my sisters is witches. He was around our coven like he been there forever. Like, you know what I mean?
And a very Muslim father.
Yes, very, very. So it's like, you know.
But I also got that respect in return too. So it made it easier for me to get that. Like, when I met your dad at a very young age, I guess you would say he was in the thick of it. Like, you know, he was and I never felt judged by him because this church boy is coming. And I was a church boy back then. Every Sunday, conferences, all of that. I never felt judgment from, oh, look at this pork eating mother. You know what I mean? I never felt that from anyone.
We introduced him to beef pepperoni, all of that.
My favorite. But I never felt judgment coming back the other way either. So I think I was very blessed in that way because it made it more easy for me to really be open to other people's traditions and the way they do stuff, the way they eat, the way they worship, the way they pray, all of that stuff. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's funny because that's why I'm like, just have the conversation. Because it ain't that hard.
But that's not normal.
That's not everybody.
So that's what because you said something last night that said, when you asked me, well, why was it easy for you to, be open to other religions? And we talked about it. And you said, jokingly, that's not very Christian of you. I said, you're right.
Yeah, I did say that.
I do know a lot of judgy Christian. I know a lot of judgy everything.
Right.
But because that was my environment, I do know a lot of judgy.
Exactly.
Where it's like, especially back in the day, it's very different now. But especially back in the day, your dress is too short.
Right.
It ain't at your knees. That's none. That's none of that. You know what I mean? So little stuff like that. That's been more of the norm. It's not as overt these days, but that is more the norm of like, especially with traditional parents of like, no, you're Jewish. You need to go find you a nice Jewish boy.
Right.
Like a lot of people have this experience with their families. Like, I think it was Emily who said, Brennan asked her, why don't you want your kids to be Catholic? And she grew up Catholic. She said it was kind of culty to me. Right. Because that was her. Her experience was not at all like mine.
Right.
And I think her experience is more common than not.
Yeah. Why Claire don't know where her husband is?
I have a, for lack of a better term, love-hate relationship with Claire.
Mine it's not even love-hate. I am so indifferent about her. It's not even funny.
That's a part of it too.
Like, I'm just
Mine's is a bit more like, I can see her potential to be a good spouse to somebody.
Oh, yeah.
But it's funny, while we was watching, I said to Zar, I'm curious to see how Claire is with somebody who she's really into. I have a respect for her because I think she's definitely committed to this process. I don't think she's that into Cameron, but I do think she's trying. And I do think she's serious about trying and figuring this process out. So I have a respect for her there, but I also feel like she's a completely different person with somebody who she's into. Like we have a friend of ours who just got married, and I can say her name because this is positive stuff. Her name's Brittany. She just got engaged, not married. We saw her the other day. Well, not the other day, but a couple of weeks ago. And I mean, you could just tell her vibe was different. She was glowing. She moving different. Her outfits is more feminine and all of this. But don't do her outfits like that. No, she always been fly. Don't get it jacked up. I think she would even say she is emanating something. But she always was super kind of tomboyish. Yeah, she plays sports. Yeah, that's true. She's this one of why she's one of my closest friends of my sisters, like kind of sister friend group. Cause she's like she was a homie, like, you know what I mean? And she was floating. And this is, we've all been around that woman where you see her walking around and be like, oh, you're dating somebody. Yes, that's true. I feel like Claire is that person when she really likes somebody. But I don't think she's intentionally not there. I just feel like I'm curious because I feel like I want to see what she's like when she's dating somebody. The problem is she don't know what she like when she dating somebody. She the main one who says she not used to people don't usually show her public displays of affection. They don't hold her hands. They don't do this. They don't do that. Yeah, it's giving side chick. But it's absolutely giving side chick. But why do you think that? Claire doesn't give. She doesn't present as side chick. She doesn't. But her story is very side chick. So I'm curious as to why that is. Doesn't present to me as open. I can see that for sure. Like at all. Like I think you have to have a certain kind of. She gives you like a little, a little flirty energy. I agree with that. And some of us just got it. Like I meet people all the time. I got a girlfriend, Thomasina. She could be talking to anybody. Yeah, she do. They gonna think, but us Virgos, we got that. You talking to anybody, everybody falling in love. You know what I mean? And it's like, but it's a thing. Like it's just an energy that Claire doesn't necessarily, I feel, have. Oh, I agree. So I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I think this is her personality. I don't think it could be. I'm just curious. It feels a little too homey, like a little too. I've been here before. It don't even feel homey to me. Oh, it don't. It feels awkward. I mean, not even awkward. It is awkward. It doesn't feel awkward. It feels very professional.
Yeah, but I think she thinks being professional is going to garner respect.
It ain't.
Do that make sense?
I get it. And it's not.
Like, she thinks like, oh, if I'm acting like this, then he know I'm not the one. I honestly, y'all are not gonna believe this. I think Claire used to date brothers.
I don't get anything from Claire, so I'm gonna go with you. I don't.
I think she used to date brothers. She's very not curt. What's the word I want to use? Matter of factly. But I didn't like that. She was like, "Oh, I have a mandatory meeting," and this is what I had to tell Joe. I am a corporate girly, like corporate girly. So when people be saying what they can't do about, I do this with Joe too. He be like, "Oh, I gotta put the time on the calendar." Whatever. I'm like, time on the calendar? Ask people for time off. Like, what are you talking about? Take the day. Do I not do that all the time? Like, I'm like, what? I'll be like, oh, no, I'm taking a week for Christmas. I'm taking a week for Thanksgiving. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. So when people are having issues at work, sometimes I don't get it. Like, I can't. Or, like, if I don't want to take a meeting because my husband is doing something, I'm going to say my husband is at the goddamn emergency room. Y'all can figure this out on your own. But I'm in a different space in my corporate career. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that might be lost on me.
Yeah, but
that's where I'm not empathetic.
But in this situation, I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't even get you being okay with him. He's in pain.
But this is what we were talking about the professional thing. It's very, I don't want to call it cold, but it's not warm. And she doesn't give warm. And I think that might be the issue that we were talking about a couple minutes ago with why she's having this side chick experience, because she does not give main chick energy.
She don't give poom poom.
Warmth. Yeah. She just
if you picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't give.
Yeah, she
enter
doesn't.
Me.
She
does
doesn't.
That make sense? And I don't mean enter me like enter me.
No, open, like, with the door open.
Yes.
And I think that's part of why Cameron doesn't know what to do with his hands, because he doesn't feel invited. And I think that you're in another country and you're already working on your honeymoon, which is weird to me.
Completely asinine.
Very weird to me. This isn't your third vacation of the year type thing. You ain't at somebody else's wedding.
But we don't know that.
No. I'm saying we know that this is your honeymoon.
Right, but so we don't know if she had taken 3 vacations.
No. I'm saying with him you haven't. You just met him. That's what I mean. Like, together. This isn't your third trip. You know what I mean? Where you just like, I'll just take my laptop. So she's working on her honeymoon, which is already weird, with a person who she does not know, right? Which makes it doubly weird.
Yeah.
And then your husband obviously has an emergency to where he has to now go off the resort, which, if you've ever been anywhere, you know, is always a little uncanny and it really
always make you feel a little.
You should. These everywhere ain't America.
That's the truth.
You know what I'm saying? They don't get down like that. Down to the police. Right. I've had friends tell me they went off a resort in Mexico, got pulled over by a cop. The cop straight up said, "Y'all cash us out and we'll let you go."
Yeah.
That was it. So these things happen. It's very common for these things to happen. You let him go off the resort by himself to a hospital dealing with a physical emergency. That is weird to me. And that's probably one of the reasons why she has a side chick experience, because it's no way that you can be locked in with somebody, be cared about for somebody, be
or even building care. Even if I was dating a guy and he had to go to the emergency room, we somewhere together, you go.
Yeah, it's no way.
Just off the strength. If we was friends, you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think it has to be that the obligation because you're his wife. It's just like, why wouldn't you even want to know? And then not to know when he's going to come back.
She gets to the table and they like, where Cameron at? I don't know. I hope he come back.
But you know why I bang with Cameron? And Cameron is always going to get praise from me. And it's for this one reason. He said, you know what? Let me go buy all the flowers I could find and come in here and do a big gesture so she knows I'm into you. Because apparently something is getting lost in translation. And I want us to get back to just kind of feeling the romance. And what she do? You the bomb.
Yeah.
Girl, kiss that man in the mouth. And my thing is this, and I'm a girl where Joe know I'm only nice if you buying me something. You ain't buying me nothing, I don't got nothing for you either. So it's like, that's just my truth. But I feel like that was such a nice gesture.
Especially coming off the hospital.
And then he came out, and then you ain't even go with him? That means he didn't even think about it like that. He was okay with you doing your thing?
Well, I don't know that he was okay. I think that Cameron is trying.
It's very clear.
And I think that he is ready for marriage. Because sometimes, just like we was talking about with Orion, sometimes you do things to keep the train on the track, to keep the energy up. And you can't be okay with going off by yourself in another country.
He was not okay with that.
You can't be okay with that unless you're a robot. But I think he's trying. And I think you mentioned something getting lost in translation. I think Cameron is getting lost in translation. Like he's like, I don't know how to be myself around this person.
Yeah.
This person does not get me.
Yeah.
And it's clear. And so that I can imagine is very uncomfortable for him. Mm-hmm. And I think with all of this stuff going on with them, he continues to try. I'm going to give you flowers. I'm going to go do this excursion that you want to do. I'm gonna go whatever, because he's trying his best to figure out how to get something from her, like you was talking about. Anything.
So my biggest thing with Cameron, though, that I'm not 1,000%. My thing is this: Cameron is okay with me because he did that gesture. Him trying to reset the energy to me is massive. It says a lot about him, and I think to your point, it says that he's ready for marriage. Inversely, they had a conversation in bed where Clara was talking about, I got to get back to my routine. And he was like, our routine? I just want to know what she thought she signed up for.
I hear this a lot amongst these individuals that come on the show, get married, and remain individuals. Yes. You are not going back to your routine, Claire, because when you left, you were single, and now you're married.
Literally.
You're a whole married woman. You're coming back with a husband, and you're moving in to a brand new place together with a brand new person.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with a brand new situation. So the mindset is scary to me when I hear somebody on a honeymoon with somebody they just met 6 days ago say, I can't wait to get back to my routine. Your routine is over. The minute you do these monumental things in life, like marrying somebody, your routine is over. It's now our routine. And I think that was scary to me to hear her say, because your mindset should have already switched over to us, our. Everything should be we, do. I get upset with Zar when we talk about stuff and she say me. And she say me too much in a sentence. I be like, whoa.
Yeah, he does.
Like, what's happening? I got to get this. I'm going to do this. And sometimes you got to snap somebody out of that. Like, it's no more you. It don't matter what you do. It don't matter how much money you make. If you make money, it's all money.
Who said that?
You have a car accident. Is that not how it is?
I mean, my
phone ring. It's just, did we get money? That's what she says to me.
Yes, I do.
Right? And literally by the letter of the law, it is her money. Yes, right? She get into a car accident. We got into a car accident.
Yeah, true.
She in the hospital. We in the hospital. So everything you do, your interactions with other people, what I do and how I interact in the world is a representation of her, whether she is there or not.
Right.
And vice versa.
Right.
Everything is a we thing. Everything is a we thing. So it's very scary when people come on this show and are still, I mean, after going down the aisle, talking to Pastor Kyle, Dr. Pia, Dr. Pepper, being with other couples, taking the pictures, moving into the place, they still, it's me, it's I got to do this. I'm going to go home to my place. You don't have a place no more.
But I do think it takes time.
But switching the mindset over does not take time. Part of Lauren and Orion's issue, we'll get there, but I'm just taking a piece from it. Part of their issue is Orion has the issue that her mental didn't switch over when she started the process. Right?
Yeah.
He was saying the minute you entered the process, you're being ready to be a fiance. Right. I was being ready, and I don't think you were being ready.
Yeah.
Right? My mentality to be a husband didn't start when I proposed to Intezar. It started long before I went to the store to find her ring, I was starting to shift my mentality, right?
But just to give a little color, when we first got together, I do think you were still transitioning to being a partner.
Absolutely, but my mentality was already starting to transition. Before you got here, I was already starting to.
But it took some time for you to get there.
but that's what you just said. It does take time.
Yeah, it does.
So that's why you have to. That's what you get my point. I had to start the process before she touched down in Los Angeles. Yeah. Right. That we are single before we get married. We are single for our entire lives.
I agree.
So of course it takes time. Of course you have to shed ideas, shed habits, shed people. You have to shed a lot of things. So of course it taking time is not a problem for me.
Yeah.
What I have a problem with is you and your honeymoon. It's very clear you didn't even start this process mentally.
Right. That's a good point. Right. So yeah, let's dig into Lauren and Orion because I ain't got nothing else on these mugs.
Lauren is tripping. I mean, you know what? Let me back up. I'll say this. Before I get to Lauren, because I got a lot to say about Lauren, we talked about learning how to move on. We talked about, ironically, we just talked about, being able to let go of offenses, arguments, blah, 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 blah. I was that person. Mm-hmm. I could not let go. I could not get over it. Like
over
Orion.
Anything.
I could not get over it, right? So what I'm saying about Orion is to be married, you got to let that go.
You got to have a short, but
let me just make that point. To be married, we're not talking about I'm saying to be married just on the subject.
You just gotta let it go.
You have to learn to let it go. Like
that should be a theme.
Dr. Pastor Kyle was saying, you have to learn to let it go, even if you have not let it go.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it don't hurt you to say, yeah, let's move on. You ain't have to have been emotionally moved on. Time will heal. You'll talk. Somebody will say something funny and then you'll just be past it. You don't have to, but sometimes you have to say the words out of your mouth. Sometimes everything you say may not be whole truths, but a lot of times in marriage, you speaking stuff into existence. I will be better. We will be okay. We're okay now.
We will be okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So,
but also it's always just getting to the next day. I think like if we're just constantly like, this is just a day, we're going to make it to the next day. And if you have that constant mentality, longevity is easy. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Like I think, and I'm saying that from us, like I think about, we've had terrible arguments and just being like, and it's funny because I think we have both been participants in a terrible argument and also both being understanding of it's just a day. Right. Like we got to move on. You know what I mean? And we're going to move on and we're just going to be better. And maybe we get to this point where we kind of are now where we really don't have like arguments. Like, you know what I mean? It's like more like we're going to get to it. But I do think.
But that's a muscle. That is a muscle.
That's a muscle. We train it.
That's a muscle that you have to flex. And I'm saying about Orion, he has to.
He don't got the backbone.
I'm saying he has to flex that muscle in order to be married. But with that being said,
she dead ass wrong. And
I mean, flat out
period. Dead wrong. So this is my biggest issue. And I think so I want to take back. I don't think that I want to take back what I said. I absolutely think Orion has the backbone for this. I think the biggest issue here is that she added insult to injury. So you said this one thing about my culture. Maybe if it was just me and you at 4 a.m. and you said some stupid shit like that out your mouth, I would be okay with it. But to have that shown on TV, he already in his brain like, they for sure keeping this clip. He probably talked to them about getting rid of it, and they did not, okay? I really believe all of this happened just based on the way that he is like, he's reliving it. You could tell. Oh, yeah. Every time. And she doesn't seem like, even though she talks like this.
Sometimes, part of the time. Part of my issue with Lauren is how she talks to him. Like he said, when they're getting in these conversations and she start giving him this low down dirty energy that he is not giving to her. Baby. That's part of my issue. She walks in the bedroom, after they have one of their arguments and says, funny seeing you here. He hasn't even said anything yet.
And that's what the hell he was thinking. Bitch, I ain't even saying that.
He didn't. So right there, you set the energy in the room.
Yes.
Oh, so we on this time today?
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? I didn't
But
like
even
that
when they
all.
were at the dinner table, that like
even there.
Well, I need silence or something like that. A silent meal is what I need. She said something crazy.
I wasn't even talking about that one. She was at the dinner table with the other couples, and he was talking about how they were doing. All the couples were kind of recapping their situations. And he said, yeah, we had our first big, hiccup. She said, second big. That's so
You want the smoke.
Why?
So bad. And I don't get it. I feel like I don't. And this is from our perspective watching the show. I do feel like she could have been far more apologetic for what she said.
I do too. Because in the moment, she tried to gaslight him immediately.
And nobody talked about it. And I think that's what he was saying too.
That is what he was saying. Before an apology even came, and this is a theme for her. This reoccurring thing of turning the tables and gaslighting him in the middle of conflict is a reoccurring thing for her. In the moment, in the hot tub, she immediately said, oh, well, I don't really like how you handling me. I don't like how you talking about me as a black woman.
And all the black women in the world was like, girl, who said that?
Right.
Who said that?
Right.
What? Like, no. Hold yourself accountable for the deplorable things you just said out your mouth. And this is what I'm saying. Like, well, if we were to, and I said this last week, I think, if we were to turn the tables, and this is a, white man and a black woman, and that white man say, oh, why are you offended by people calling black people monkeys? And look you in your face and say, oh, because you look like one?
And she then said, I can't get over this. No,
we would understand.
It's no way.
We would understand.
It's no way we would be down with him getting up and doing the histrionics.
Come on.
Oh, I'm done. That's the other thing, too.
He's standing on business.
She also has to stop saying that.
Oh, she must.
But that's the other thing, too, that she does that I think is deplorable. Every time he expresses, and what she said to Pastor Kyle, so we're not crazy. Every time he expresses himself and talks about his feelings to her, she reacts erratically to his feelings.
Right. Not just listen.
I feel like I can't get past this. I'm done. Everything is like this. So now we talking about your reaction and all of the histrionics
versus just solving the right. But this is what me and Joe went to therapy about this because we kind of had to deal with this too. The problem becomes the issue is no longer the issue.
Yeah.
How you responded to the issue is now an issue. So now we have to solve that issue and the original issue.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Like, you know what I mean? Because you should be able to, we also had to deal with, just because I'm saying something that might seem critical of you, I'm not assigning that to who you are. But if you come at me when I'm telling you how I feel, now it becomes, this is who you are.
And now I feel I can't talk to you about how I feel.
Exactly.
Because I am too nervous about whatever your reaction will be to how I feel, which is exactly where Orion is, which is what he was saying to Pastor Kyle when he said, even then she did it. He said to Pastor Kyle, I don't feel like, whenever we talk about these things, I don't feel like I can speak and get my feelings out. Her response was what? We don't talk about anything. We never talked about anything. So
and I'm like, are you listening? He just said that. Sorry, y'all, I'm yelling. But are you listening? That's my point. Like, sis, what's up, sis? Like, what? I feel like we gotta call her in. I'm worried about this baby. The idea that you would ever even say something like that out your mouth to somebody, it's so unbelievable to me. That's number one. Number two, you turn around, you talk about this sex thing, you make that an issue because what you were trying to do, and this is also manipulative, is what you tried to do was give him something just as deplorable as you did.
Yes.
Tried to equate the things. So then, okay, now we 1-1. He shouldn't have no issue with what I did. Do that make sense?
That's exactly what she said. That's what she said. She said, well, I made a mistake, but then he made a big mistake.
You made me feel unsafe. Unsafe? He ain't call you a whore.
But then it's the
which you're not. Like,
but then it's the constant, again, thing of trying to gaslight him and flip the tables.
Right.
So then he tells you how something you did made him feel, right? Then she says, well, you know, I just felt like you were judgmental. He said the whole half the episode he's saying, I wasn't judging you. I was telling you how what you did made me feel. It made me want to take sex off the table. I ain't call you, like you said, I ain't call you a hoe. I ain't do nothing like that. I didn't say you were deplorable or anything like that. I expressed to you how the place that it put me in. And the fact that she doesn't have the emotional intelligence to understand that he has 100% carte blanche to express how something she did made him feel is very scary. It's very scary because it's beyond not being ready for marriage. You're not ready for a relationship where no one is allowed to tell you their emotions.
Or you're just going to find another way to manipulate a situation to have another argument to level the playing field. Right. For me is very odd because the truth of the matter is, and this is what Pastor Kyle nor Dr. Gia got to, is that the reason why he took sex off the table is that he was so turned off by the fact that you would ever turn in his face and say some mess like that to him. Right. And he couldn't reach over and slap you in your goddamn mouth. That now you're going to add on the fact that you just had... Like, I'm done with this. That's literally what happened. Yeah. And instead of us getting to the root of that, because the reason why he said it is because he's fed up now. Yeah. Now it's like, all right, you know what I mean? Where y'all get her from? Yeah. And that's the truth. Like, and I want to like Lauren. Like, I want to like her. Because she a brown girl. And women... Ruthia, this is your goddamn fault. Because what you said was, we like, in the beginning of this, I said, I like Lauren. And you was like, you like Lauren because she black? And I said, yes. And look at you, you ruined it. You ruined it, Ruthia! Okay. I feel like I don't know, I want to hug this baby because I feel like she going through it. Because I just don't know who hurt her enough and said so many deplorable things to her that she would then go in somebody else's face and say something like that, because that's a learned behavior.
Oh, and that there may be something to this, but I'm gonna go back to what I said, and I think it was week 2. Lauren, this is a childish, emotional response to getting something she did not want. I said to y'all, she asked, and y'all was tussling in the comments on TikTok.
I was tussling with you too.
I said to y'all, she asked for a black man.
I don't remember saying that.
She did. She asked for a black man because she, especially if you go back and watch the casting specials and all of that stuff, she keeps going back to very sly. Everybody is referencing race, but very, very slick like. And she was a part of that, right? Somebody said, I like brown tone or something weird. She didn't say anything weird, but it was very much so alluding to like, bring me a black man, y'all. She asked for a black guy. She did not get that. Call him whatever you want to call him.
Indigenous. Don't call him whatever. Call him what he is. No. I'm saying because I stand on when you see him, you would not know he was indigenous unless you could see him. If he walked by in the street, you would just say he was a white man. Period. But if we were in Colorado, I probably would say, I think it depends on the location. Here, we probably would say.
And that's all I'm saying. But I think
in Colorado, where there are more indigenous people, we probably would be like, oh.
And all I'm saying is that's how he presents. So they give her him, and I think that she is saying and doing things that she would never have done. She wouldn't have did this with no black man. Immature. That's what I'm saying.
She wouldn't.
This was somebody who she was physically attracted to, or somebody who she asked for, fit the bill of what she asked for. She wouldn't have asked him. She wouldn't have told. I don't think she would even told him, "Yeah, I had sex last week."
Hell
I don't think she would.
No.
You understand what I'm saying?
I
think this is an immature response to getting something that she did not initially want, which is not okay.
Which is not okay. Like, I don't understand, baby, what you going through. That one, you don't even understand where he coming from. Like, if you just take a moment, step back, get out your ego, and think about what was said you would have to be like, I need to do a little bit more. She said, I'm looking up like terms of endearment in Indian culture. You need to be looking at how do you apologize in indigenous culture? Like, you know what I mean? Like you need to make a gesture, not only to him, to his mother. He's absolutely right. Because all of these people are going to watch this and then they're going to look at me like, why you ain't now? He a little too weak on that side for me because I don't give a damn what me and him go through. Can't nobody on the outside. If I said something somebody ain't like, God bless. That's between you and your God. But me and my husband, we'll talk about what we need to talk about. You don't need to have, he's not beholden to Angel Wilson.
Right.
That ain't his woman. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the truth. Like, it's just, you got to be man enough to be like, yeah, she said something jacked up. We working through it. And y'all got to work through it with us because we family.
But also,
you got to stand on business.
No, she has to stop. But also, you do not learn how to treat your spouse from Google. So
Girl.
You need to be talking to your man about how to apologize, the words to say.
The problem is she can't not be the victim.
How to respect the culture.
Oh, I don't like that word.
How to move in a space with his type of people. The red flags, the no-nos, the do's and don'ts. You lay next to somebody who is the thing that you are researching. What you mean? I'm on Google every day. I could write him a letter of a summary.
But I do think it's nice that she wants to be ingratiated. But to your point, sometimes the best sorry is change behavior. And because, like Dr. P has said, you have to put money into the bank. You have to put emotional feelings into the bank. Don't I say that shit all the time?
Yeah.
You got to fill that bank up with goodness. And then you have some withdrawals, but you want to keep making deposits. She's having an issue making deposits.
But the way that you do it is figuring out how your spouse would like to receive these deposits.
Yes.
You cannot get that from ChatGPT.
And the truth is, the fact that she didn't come in there with a big thing of flowers is beyond me.
And that's a part of discussing how do you want me to apologize in the future? What is an adequate apology to you? Because y'all got all the way to a conversation with Pastor Cal before you even heard him say I couldn't accept that apology. Because you didn't speak to him about what is an adequate I'm sorry. What does that look like?
1,000%.
How do I rectify the situation? What are the do's and don'ts? You talk to him about, I can't Google, how does Intezar want me to apologize?
With gifts.
You understand what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to find that from a search engine.
1,000%.
So all of this conversation about how hard she's tapping away at a keyboard is so silly to me. And it tells me that you are not ready for marriage because you can't learn how to treat me from Google.
But he's not 100% absolved. He do got to get, like Pastor Cal said, like you got to learn to shake some stuff off. Like this is never going to work if everything is a thing. Granted, if the situation was reversed and it was a black woman, I don't know that I would be giving this commentary. But yeah, I don't know that I would be giving this commentary. Honestly, I don't know that
I completely understand his frustration and inability to get over this situation.
1,000%.
So I can put the shoe on the other foot, especially as a black person in America, and totally sympathize with him saying, this is hard for me to get over. If I'm dating a white girl and she called me the N-word, we ain't fitting to be sitting down next to Pastor Cal together. Right. I'm not coming in the room.
Right.
I talk to him separately, but that's just not something that's going to happen, especially on day 3 of the incident. This incident just happened. So her getting up and doing all that, I don't agree with that. I think it's foolery. I think it's asinine.
Well, tell us what y'all think. Like, I'm curious to know how you guys are unpacking this scenario. I really do want Lauren and Orion to get past this, but
I don't. She's not ready. I don't want he would be with a terrorist. Some people are not ready to be married, and I don't want them to be together. She has a lot of work that she has to do on her own. Him as well. It's not just a her thing. But they are not a good couple. They should not be together. This pairing was a mistake.
Oh, damn, Chuck.
I thought it was from the beginning, and they just proved me right every day. I want them to go ahead and just put them out of their misery so we can go on and focus on, because ironically, all three of these other couples, I think, have promise. All three of them have promise.
Yeah.
But this ain't it.
But I feel like knowing what you and I have been able to conquer, to be here and to be happy and healthy, I think, but the problem is we had history.
Yeah, this ain't that.
I think that matters. I think for them to deal with it so early on and they're just getting to know each other, she has given very much Bin Laden vibes.
Yeah, this ain't it.
Very much. And it's really unfortunate. And I think it's rooted in the fact that she is unable to just exist in this world. And a lot of black women are, and a lot of black men are, to be honest. Hell, a lot of indigenous people are, right? If we're being honest. And I think her inability to exist is blocking her from seeing just how upsetting and world-rocking her actions are. Does that make sense? Like, yeah. I think that there's something being missed here, but I didn't like the move. Let me tell you something. I always tell people this. Gaslighters are created. Okay, you don't come into this world. I was talking to Jazz and Ebony about this. You don't come into this world immediately just like, oh no, I didn't do that, or make up a scenario to make the other person feel crazy. Mm-hmm. You don't do that. You've gotten in trouble for things you did not do, and now you're like, I don't care if I did it or I didn't do it. I'm lying about it.
Yeah.
And not only am I going to lie about it, I'm just going to create a whole brand new narrative. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And then you could go with that. That's created. So I don't know what she's going through that she can't take accountability, because that's a big thing.
It's a big thing.
And I think that's a big thing in black culture.
It is.
You know what I mean? I think it's a very big thing in black culture. So it's like, just being like, oh no, well you did it. And then you feel all crazy. Like, no, I have the receipt. We've all been there. I've had the receipt. And it's like, I think that's kind of what she's doing.
And I just watched a video on it. I think it was on Twitter. It's like starting to go viral. This guy, well, it was a panel of people talking about this type of stuff. And the guy said something to the effect of, a lot of times you will be, he said, women are smarter than us. He said most of them are sharper, have a way with words better than most men. And he said a lot of times I find that, he was like a counselor or something. He said a lot of times I find that women, specifically black women, will be in arguments with their spouses and be winning the conversation and be focusing on winning the conversation to the point where it's more of a attempt to win a debate rather than an attempt to find a resolution.
Right.
And I see that happening with Lauren and Orion every time they argue. And he said a lot of times, especially if the man is not as good with words, isn't as sharp with his tongue, he'll just retreat and nothing will get solved. He'll just be getting dominated in the conversation. This is literally playing out. She goes to, and he's like, just like on the table, he said, I have nothing else to say. Orion cannot go toe to toe with Lauren. Right. It doesn't matter what the topic.
But it shouldn't even be that way.
But it's very clear to her that it is that way.
Yeah.
And so because he can't go toe to toe with her, they finish the argument and it's, I won. You can tell. It's just that energy of that. I won. Nothing got solved. He retreated because he can't combat. He can't spar with her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And nothing got solved.
And the thing is that, but that's also, child, we had to work through this. That's also a thing. When you tell somebody something and then they turn it into something else and turn it into something else and turn it into something else. Baby, that is like, that will have you in your brain like, this is why people are on Snapped. Like, you know what I mean? Because you're not listening. Because if he met her with that same energy, then what? What would we be saying?
We be tearing his ass up.
And that's the truth. And it's like, protect black women all the time. But baby, Lauren, I'm gonna need you to go talk to somebody. Hit up Dr. Phil or Dr. Oz, okay? For real, because you need it, baby. We need a little Iyanla up in here because something is unresolved. Very much unresolved. Or to Joe's point, you just throwing a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
I think it's more that. Honestly, then I'm sitting here and unpacking this. Y'all tell us what y'all think. Is it a temper tantrum? Is it unresolved? Where are you at on the spectrum with Lauren and Orion? Do you want them to see it through? Do you not? I want them to figure something out. Because it could be successful, but I think she's done a lot of damage too soon. It's like, dropping a baby on their head. All right, we got to go. My baby up there doing something she ain't supposed to be doing. So that's it. That's all. Thank you guys so much for watching our video. I'm your girl, Zar Eleanor. This is my beautiful husband, Joe. And we are out of here. Bye.